Now, Arne Slot may have slightly eased the pressure on himself with a victory over West Ham at the weekend, but make no mistake, if Liverpool do lose to Sunderland at Anfield with what would be a third consecutive defeat at home, then you feel that Liverpool will be firmly back in crisis mode and that his job will be under threat again. So this game on Wednesday evening is a big one, and against the Sunderland side that's absolutely flying, but it is also for Liverpool a chance to prove that they really have turned a corner, isn't it? So, of course, as usual, before the game, we were here at the AXA Training Centre to hear from Arne Slot for his thoughts on that clash with Sunderland. And interestingly, no questions about his job security after that win against West Ham. Things have settled down a little bit, haven't they? But plenty of team news and other aspects to get into. And I will start with that team news and the injury updates. And only a recovery day yesterday for Liverpool, so not a lot to learn from that. But as we understand it, no new injuries for the manager to deal with, which I think is good news for him at the moment. He said that Isak had maybe suffered a little bit of starting to feel the cramp coming on him towards the end of that West Ham game, which is something you would expect really with his level of fitness at the moment. He is still building it up, isn't he? But nothing long term or anything to worry about with that one. So hopefully he'll be okay to train fully today. He was also very pleased, he said, to get some more minutes into Florian Wirtz, because of course he missed a little while, didn't he, with a muscle injury. Missed maybe a week and a half or so after picking up a muscle injury on international duty, but came back in against West Ham and was incredibly impressive, I thought. So really positive he's got those extra minutes and now is feeling fit and fresh. And he was asked about the possibility of them staying in the team, and he said that he didn't think that, and not just staying in the team for this one, but staying in for Leeds as well, which ends this kind of 3 games in quite a short succession of time. And he said that he didn't feel he could give them all 90s all the way through, and that's Isak, Wirtz and also Joe Gomez. But made it sound like he could stick with them in the starting 11 for all 3. So it's going to be interesting to see what he does there. We also got updates on Conor Bradley and Jeremie Frimpong's fitness as well. Obviously, both have been out for a while, and actually a surprisingly positive update on Conor Bradley. Not maybe one we expected, because he gave a bit of a kind of negative and downbeat prognosis only about a week or so ago, but he said that Conor Bradley returned to parts of training yesterday, so hugely encouraging on that front. He is on his way back now. Now the expectation is he's not going to be involved against Sunderland, but he's in with a chance at least of facing Leeds this weekend, so that is a boost, because Liverpool no right backs really at the moment. I know Joe Gomez more of a centre half by trade, Conor Bradley out at the moment, Jeremie Frimpong also, so to get Bradley back would be a boost as well as Joe Gomez has done, because you want to manage his fitness, don't you? And he also said that on Jeremie Frimpong, he's about a week or so behind Conor Bradley, so possibility he still misses the next 3 games, but he is getting there. He's not a million miles away from full fitness. You have to say, the more fit players that the manager can have available, the more he can rotate, the more he can make use of this excellent squad that he's got, the better really to help Liverpool come out of this sticky spot that they're in. Of course, one bit of team news, it's not going to be an injury, but there is the prospect of losing Mohamed Salah very soon, isn't there? Because AFCON is on the horizon, and we've now had clarity from the manager on exactly when Liverpool will lose Mohamed Salah to that, and he said that the point at which he's expected to be called up is December the 15th, so that'll come after the Brighton game on December the 13th, and the 13th, and he said they might be open to negotiation around that. Maybe they'll let him go a little earlier, I think directly after the Brighton game perhaps, but he is going to play the Brighton game and then he'll go the other side of that. And it'll be interesting to see how many does he play before that, because of course he was left out against West Ham, wasn't he? Liverpool played well. The manager might fancy going with his same team into this, and again, if you play well, at what point do you bring Mohamed Salah in? And it's an interesting balance he's got to strike there, because Salah hasn't been at his best so far this season, but he has scored a few goals. Is his form going to turn? Can the team play well with him in it? Is this just a team he has to stick with now? And of course, Liverpool have got so many games at the moment, they probably do have to use him. So really, really interested to see what he does with Salah before he heads off to AFCON. But as I say, now we've got clarity on exactly when that will be, and that is the other side of the Brighton game. And it's interesting, you won't be surprised to hear that there was some praise for Joe Gomez here as well after the way he played against West Ham, coming in from that, coming in from the cold almost. You've barely seen him this season really, but he came in, he was trusted against Brighton. I thought put in a very good performance, and praise from the manager for him. And he said It's a skill set he has that after a long time not playing, you can play him again and he performs as he did before. And I guess that's a skill that Joe Gomez has had to practice, given his kind of poor injury record over the years at Liverpool. But he hasn't let them down very often at all, has he? And yeah, big praise from the manager. And I do wonder whether that means that he'll be in the team to face Sunderland. And the manager also spoke about the fact that he wants a better start than the last home game. Of course, 2 defeats on the bounce at Anfield coming into this one. Nottingham Forest and then PSV Eindhoven, both really poor games, and the manager ended up with his job on the line on the basis of those. And you remember against PSV, and he was asked specifically about this, that Liverpool made a slow start that kind of added to the nervousness in the crowd. You may remember the moment where Mamardashvili stood with his foot on the ball, didn't really know where to pass or what to do, and the manager kind of explained about that. And I thought this was really interesting. He said, we'd prepared for PSV usually pressing the goalkeeper, so the idea would have been that Mamardashvili baits the press, then they create a little triangle, play around it, and that's how they work their way up the pitch in terms of build-up. But they didn't do that, of course, PSV. They stood off, and they only pressed once the defenders got the ball. And it's interesting because this is something Slot has highlighted all season as something he's had a bit of an issue with, and that is that everyone has been changing their approach when it comes to Liverpool, so they can watch as much tape as they want, they can prepare for the things that the opposition are going to do, but when the match starts, they're typically doing something completely different. Now, of course, West Ham didn't really do that, and that played into Liverpool's hands, and Liverpool put in one of the better performances they have recently at the weekend. But will Sunderland change, or will Sunderland not feel that they have to at all? Because, of course, their strengths are set pieces, they are counter-attacking, they are being a physical side, all things that have looked like weaknesses for Liverpool so far this season. So it's going to be very, very interesting. I think Liverpool would prefer that they don't change what they do, so that they can prepare for it and be ready for it. But it's going to be interesting if their manager kind of throws a little bit of a spanner in the works by doing something different, because it's worked so well for other sides so far this season to change it up against Liverpool and really catch them by surprise, really. So one of the last things he spoke about in this press conference, he was asked about abuse that managers and players have suffered this season online, in online spaces, on social media, and he's told that he was the most abused manager online in the month of November, which he kind of joked about this, and I thought this was great from him. He said, well, after the City win, he said, maybe I expected a little bit more after the Forest game, and he was in good spirits about it. He joked about it, but of course went on to say that abuse is unacceptable and nobody should cross the line. And I thought he showed great spirit in that moment, though, and kind of showed that he knows himself that he's under pressure, but he's not taking too much on his shoulders. And I think today he looked a bit less tired, he looked a bit more energetic than he has recently, because obviously he's had the weight of the world on his shoulders, and this is such a difficult situation he's in, and you really do want to see him get out of it. You don't want to see a manager under pressure like that. And I do want to kind of, while I'm talking about this, actually kind of clarify my own position on this, because I got a few comments after the West Ham game on my video where I spoke about Liverpool playing well and it was an important result for the manager, and kind of people saying, oh, well, you said you wanted the manager out, are you unhappy about this or anything like that? And I really want to kind of get across that, when I speak about kind of maybe this is the time at which the manager should go, I'm not saying it out of spite or hatefulness or, I'm kind of, ranting and raving or anything like that. I'm just setting out a position that I felt in that moment after the PSV, the Forest games, the performance is getting worse and worse, that it could be a moment where the manager loses his job. And I don't want Arne Slot to lose his job. I really must say that. I mean, I like him. He's great to deal with, an incredible achievement last season, and he's been, on the whole, a fantastic Liverpool manager so far. But of course, as much as that is all true, there's a breaking point for every manager at every club, and even Liverpool, who are incredibly patient and sensible. Make no bones about it, if he'd lost against West Ham, he would have lost his job. I don't doubt that for a second. And I think if he loses against Sunderland, Liverpool are firmly back in that position where you look at the overarching form and he doesn't look very good for the manager at all. But I really want to say, I would love to be proven wrong on this, by the way. I would love that video for us to look back on that in a couple of years and think I'd gone too early on that and I completely got it wrong. I really would love to be wrong about that. I want Arne Slot to turn it round as much as any supporter does, really. So, I don't need those comments is what I'm kind of getting at. And that, like I say, I want to kind of get across that. I don't say that out of spite. It just felt like that was the position and the way things were going. It was just my opinion opinion in that moment, and I will continue to share those opinions because I like to think that people enjoy them, and you know, I think it wouldn't be fair to viewers or anyone who subscribes to this channel if I held back in my opinion from time to time. I think that would be a little bit cowardly, so I will always try to share it. But as I say, really want to say, you know, don't dislike Arne Slot, don't want him to be sacked, and I really do want Liverpool to go on a run now where they win, because you know, maybe it would make me look silly, but I don't mind that at all. I would love the manager to absolutely turn things around, not starting with the West Ham game, but then going on to Sunderland as well on Wednesday. And if it can get a win, this feels like a massive game, doesn't it? An opportunity to again prove that they've hit a bit of a turning point. But we will see. Of course, as usual, I will be in the press box at Anfield to give my post-match review, so I'm very much looking forward to that, although it's starting to get a bit colder now, so not looking forward to that aspect, but I will be there, don't worry about that. And in the meantime, do let me know your thoughts and all the talking points in the comments section, everything, the team news, Mo going to AFCON on 15th, what your team selection would be as well. And if you can you can subscribe, I would hugely appreciate that, and I'll see you guys very soon.